Good morning, brothers, sisters, and siblings in the struggle. Welcome to another edition of CWA Our Power Radio Show, where we lift up the leaders, the laborers, and the legends who have paved the way for justice on the job and dignity in our communities. You're tuned into KYOK 1140 AM and the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you at kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe to us every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your favorite podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, and Pod Chaser. We are live from Orlando, Florida at the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, and we're so excited to be here. We have a phenomenal show lined up for you today. We have Micaiah Jones, Original Small, Timmia Wiley, Tay Akins today. So don't you dare change that dial. Our union brothers, sisters, and siblings at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette have been outside for 30 months striking on the picket lines. And yet while they're striking, they're still churning out the news with facts for you and me. Let's show our support to them by making sure we subscribe to unionprogress.com. Once you subscribe to this free publication, how about going over and donating to their strike fund at cwa.org/ppg-donate. And I just heard someone shout, when we fight, we win. Today's Human Rights Spotlight is dedicated to a woman who didn't just talk about equity, she lived it. She organized it. She marched for it. She preached it, and she changed American labor and civil rights history with her commitment to human dignity. Her name is Reverend Addie L. Wyatt, and if you haven't heard of her, don't worry. After today, you'll never forget her. Addie Wyatt was born on March 8th, 1924 in Brookhaven, Mississippi, right in the heart of the Jim Crow South. Her family moved to Chicago when she was just a little child, part of the Great Migration, that historic movement of Black families fleeing racial violence and economic oppression in the South for opportunities in the North. But even in Chicago, Addie faced the sting of racism and sexism, especially when she entered the workforce in 1941. She applied for a typist job at a meatpacking plant and was told, "We don't hire Negro girls as typists." Instead, she was placed on the packing house floor, working the lines, hard physical labor that paid less and came with no protections. But instead of accepting it, Addie Wyatt organized. It was in those very plants, often loud, dirty, dangerous, that Addie joined the United Packing House Workers of America, one of the few racially integrated unions at that time. She quickly rose through the ranks, becoming a voice for workers who had none, especially Black women who were doubly marginalized in the labor world. By 1953, she was working full time for the union. In 1976, she made history, becoming the first African American woman elected international vice president of a major labor union, the Amalgamated Meat Cutters, which later merged into the United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW. Let that sink in a time when both race and gender were seen as barriers to leadership. Addie L. Wyatt broke through them, both with courage, strategy, and compassion. Addie didn't see labor rights and human rights as separate. For her, they were one and the same. She fought for equal pay for equal work, dignity for domestic workers and food service workers, health care and child care for working families, racial and gender justice inside union halls and boardrooms. She understood intersectionality before it had a name, and Addie wasn't afraid to challenge even her allies. She called out one white male union leaders who overlooked Black workers. She challenged civil rights leaders who ignored working class issues. She stood firm in the belief that you can't fight for freedom if you're silent or injustice anywhere, including the workplace. Addie Wyatt was also a key figure in the broader civil rights movement. She worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and helped organize the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where King delivered the iconic speech, "I Have a Dream." But Addie reminded folks, that Dr. King's march wasn't just about dreams, it was about jobs and freedoms. She brought that labor lens to every conversation. She also marched from Selma to Montgomery. She helped organize voter registration drives, and she mentored younger leaders, especially women of color, entering labor and faith spaces. Did you know Addie Wyatt was also a minister? Yes, in 1955. She and her husband, Reverend Claude Wyatt, co founded the Vernon Park Church of God in Christ, where she preached the gospel of justice for the rest of her life. She didn't separate the sacred from the social, she lived them together. Her sermons often tackled poverty, racism, and women's empowerment. She was also one of the founding members of the Coalition of Labor Union Women, CLUE, in 1974. And listen at this, a founding member of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, CBTU, in 1972. Addie believed deeply in coalition building, that no one group could win justice alone. In 1975, Time magazine named Addie L. Wyatt one of the Women of the Year, alongside Billie Jean King and First Lady Betty Ford. But ask anyone who knew her. She didn't need awards, she needed results. She stayed grounded, continued preaching, organizing, and speaking truth to power, right up until her passing in 2012 at the age of 88. So, why are we spotlighting Addie L. Wyatt today? Because her life is proof that Black women have always been at the center of justice movements, not just marching, but leading. Because in this moment, as we fight against diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility backlash, corporate greed, and voter suppression, we need her voice in our ears and her fire in our hearts. Because human rights don't belong to history books, they belong to us, the people. Reverend Addie L. Wyatt reminds us justice is not a favor, it is a right. Equity is not optional, it is necessary. And silence is not safety, it is complicity. Let us carry her legacy, not just in our words, but in our organizing. Thank you, Reverend Addie. We will not forget. If you're inspired by Addie's story, get involved in your union's Human Rights Committee. Join a CBTU chapter, mentor a young leader, show up, because someone like Addie L. Wyatt already paved the way. This has been the CWA Our Power Human Rights Spotlight. Stay strong, stay union, stay human. You are listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe to us every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Podchaser. Search for CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast player. Up next, we have May Awareness Month, American Stroke Awareness Month, with Micaiah Jones.
Good morning. Welcome back, family, to CWA Our Power Awareness Month, where education fuels action and our collective voice strengthens every community we serve. I'm your host, Micaiah Jones, and this is May, and we're spotlighting American Stroke Awareness Month because knowing the signs and risks of stroke can literally save lives across our union family. So let's talk facts. A stroke is the fifth leading cause of death in the United States. It's the leading cause of long-term disability because it impacts people's ability to walk, speak, and live independently. Every 40 seconds, someone in the US has a stroke, and every 3.5 minutes, someone dies from one. And here's the truth. Black and Brown communities, rural workers, older adults, and those living with disabilities or chronic conditions face greater risks, often due to systemic inequities, limited access to care, or the stress of being overworked. And that means we don't just need answers or awareness. We don't just need awareness. We need answers, we need equity, we need access, and we need actions. All values that our unions stand on. So know the signs. You have to think fast. To recognize a stroke quickly, remember the acronym FAST, or F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. One side of the face droops or feels numb, and you ask the person to smile, but it looks uneven. A, arm weakness. One arm weak or numb, Ask them to raise both arms. Does one drift down? S, speech difficulty. If their speech is slurred or hard to understand, can they repeat a simple phrase? Or T, time to call 911. If you see any of these signs, and even if they go away, call 911 immediately. Time lost is brain loss, and access to early treatment, especially within the first 3 hours, can make the difference between recovery and long-term disability. So let's now break down the numbers. Nearly 800,000 strokes occur each year in the United States. 87% are ischemic strokes caused by blocked blood flow to the brain. Common risk factors include high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, poor diet, and lack of physical activity. And Black Americans are nearly twice as likely to have a first stroke and more likely to die from it than other Americans. People in low income and rural areas often face barriers to preventative care. And we also need to remember that stroke doesn't discriminate by age. It can happen to young adults, caregivers, and even folks who appear healthy on the surface. It impacts people of all genders, all job classifications, and all zip codes. So union strong means being health strong. As CWA members and as activists, we fight for more than wages. We fight for dignity, healthcare, and wellness. That means standing up for access to affordable health screenings, mental health and stress reduction resources, language accessible and disability inclusive materials, and culturally competent healthcare systems. This Stroke Awareness Month, we call on everyone to host a wellness day if you can, focus on blood pressure checks or stroke prevention tips, bring in community health experts for a short educational talk at your next meeting, and meet people where they are. Meetings can be hybrid or in person. Share fast signs and break rooms and digital bulletin boards and in your community centers. Distribute stroke info in multiple languages in accessible formats. And then check in, especially with anyone dealing with chronic illness, mental health challenges, stress from caregiving, or accessibility barriers. We see you, we support you, and we act with you. So here's what I want you to remember. Our power is collective, and our wellness is interconnected. By spreading the word, knowing the signs, and making healthy equity a priority in our unions, we protect not just ourselves, but our entire movement. So let's honor Stroke Awareness Month by taking care of our hearts, our minds, and our people. And as always, stay aware, stay connected, and stay union strong. Back to you, Errol.
Thank you so much, Micaiah. You are listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe to us every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, and Podchaser. Guess what, guys? We've had someone to have to wave the white flag to come back to the radio show, and that's Sir Reginald Small. Good morning, Mr. Small.
Good morning, Errol Minor, and good morning, KYOK radio listeners. Errol Minor, I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you took a swipe at me just now, but but indeed, I am back, and I am back for a favorite part of the program. I'm sorry that I'm not with you all at CBTU. CBTU is quite dear to me, and I believe this is the first year that I am actually missing CBTU. But one must go where one is called. And I am in Anaheim, California this morning, Orange County, I believe, here with one of our environmental justice trainings, one of the first in District 9. So I'm happy to be here. And my shout out this morning, Errol, is actually going to go out to local 9003 in Burbank, California. They, I think yesterday and the day before, we trained over 60 of their members there on environmental justice. So they came in as, some of them came in as just members, and hopefully they left the room as activists. It was a wonderful, very inspiring training, and I would like to appreciate Estela Hernandez and Sheila Bordeaux. Of course, as we all know, our own Estela Hernandez is from the Women's Committee. She's the appointee for the Women's Committee, and Sheila Bordeaux is on the Civil Rights and Equity Committee for our national union. They did a spectacular job co-facilitating yesterday, and I would like to thank the president of 9003 and the executive vice president. Their hospitality has been amazing, amazing there. And this morning, I'm actually in Anaheim at a different local, which is 9510, and that President Jason Justice, they have opened the doors, and we're excited for the training and what we're about to present today, which is environmental justice. And Errol, you have talked about environmental justice a lot, but just for our radio listeners, environmental justice is just the principle that all people, listen to this, Errol, all people, regardless of characteristics such as race, disability, age, socioeconomic background, and more, have a basic right to live, work, play, learn, worship, and engage in cultural practices in communities that are safe, healthy, and free of harmful environmental conditions. And they have a right to be involved in the policies that shape their communities. And that is the foundation, Errol, in which we are building upon. And we're very happy to be doing that and bringing awareness to the injustices in the environment. Also, a shout out to Vonda Wilkins and Tay Akins. Yesterday, they surprised the class. They came in via Zoom and gave a personal account of what it was like to join in with the activists surrounding a particular project in Arizona. So I was very happy to have them on, and I appreciate them. That was the Oak Flat project there. For our listeners, Google that. It's a very, very moving, motivational piece of activism that we can be involved in. And Errol, with all that said, thanks to everyone who have continued to join our segment. We are getting messages, as you well know, from people from the north, south, east, and west. We have some very faithful listeners. As far as the East Coast and as far as the pocket way over in Yakima, Washington, I was with a group from that area that are not union people who are benefiting greatly from the show that we produce each week. So I appreciate those listeners. Again, thank you so much, Errol, and back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Reginald Small. And we do miss you here at CBTU, but don't let that swell your head up, okay?
It's swelling already. Thank you.
All right, you're listening to KYOK 1140 AM at the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe to us every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, and Podchaser. All right, up next, we're talking about mental health is a union issue, Black workers and cross-cultural healing. And we're focusing in on this week because we're at the CBTU convention, and right now that is going on stage is they're talking about mental health. And so we're going to piggyback off of this today, and we want to start talking about mental health. We really have to key in on mental health because this is a very needed topic, a very much needed topic. And I'm Errol.
I'm Tay. I'm Timmia.
Yes, this May for Mental Health Awareness Month, we're bringing the mic to a topic many still whisper about: mental health and workers of color. CWA and CBTU are committed to solidarity across communities of color and the global working class. Mental health struggles affect all workers. Black workers stand in coalition with Latinx, AAPI, Indigenous, LGBTQIA+, disabled, and immigrant communities in fighting for workplace justice. At CBTU, we honor our ancestors by lifting the burdens we've been told to carry alone. And I want you to listen closely that Black workers are navigating trauma, from police violence to workplace microaggressions, while still showing up and clocking in.
All while mental health affects all workers. Black folks often face spiritual, cultural, and systematic barriers to care. We're told to pray it away, to be strong, or tough it out. But silence it ain't strength, it's survival. And we've been surviving off that for a long time. And now it's time for us to heal, time for us to have some healing.
Yeah, this is about breaking generational cycles. It's about therapy, rest, community resistance, and building union spaces that see the whole person and not just workers.
Mhm. And Timmy, you're absolutely correct. We have been told to be strong, to pray about it, to tough it out, and all of that. And it is time now for healing. And that's why I'm so glad today to be at the CBTU conference and a CBTU member because we know the power of our roots. But we also honor our branches. And that's why today we're talking about cross-cultural solidarity in healing. Whether you're Afro Latinx, African, Caribbean, Indigenous, Asian American, Pacific Islander, Arab, or multiracial, the mental health of workers of color is not a sidebar. It's central. You hear what I say? It is central to the fight for liberation.
Our AAPI siblings, and for those of you who don't know what that is, that's Asian Pacific Island siblings face rising hate. Indigenous communities battle historic trauma and broken systems. Latinx workers carry the weight of detention threats, family separation, and exploitation. Our LGBTQ plus family endures violence and erasure. Mental health doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's shaped by racism, poverty, and policy.
And guess what? Our unions can be a sanctuary. We can center care. We can demand culturally competent therapy in our health plans, mental health days in our contracts. And y'all know I'm big on mental health days. I will block everyone out. And trauma-informed leadership in our trainings. These are important.
And you know what? We already hear it in your voice, Tay, because this is one of your favorite topics. So we must, because if the labor movement isn't fighting for the mind, the spirit, and the body of workers, then we're not really fighting.
You correct,
The
Errol?
mental health, this mental health awareness month, I believe we should challenge, and we are going to challenge every CWA member, every CBTU member, and our allies to do three things. This just three simple things. Number one, talk openly about mental health. Number two, honor culture and healing practices that work for our people. And number three, use your union power to demand better.
We also need to bring in Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and AAPI therapists to your union halls. You can host a healing circle. Fight for policies that make room for grief, anxiety, PTSD, and rest.
And because our struggles may be different, but our healing is collective. So listen to
Now
me
you
again. Struggles may be different, but our healing is collective.
Now, you said a mouthful there that our struggles may be different, but our healing is a collective. And CBTU, CWA, we've always known that the fight for labor is the fight for life, for dignity, for peace of mind, for joy. And I always say, especially when you're at home, especially when you go home, I should say, after a hard day's work, your home should be a home of peace, and that's where you go there and you relax and you let go. And to every Black worker holding it together when you feel like falling apart, we see you. You're not alone.
To every worker of color whose mental health has been ignored or dismissed, you matter. You matter. And to every union sibling ready to make healing part of the contract, let's build the future we deserve.
Because when we say our power, We mean healing power, cultural power, union power, solidarity power. We're one union,
Union,
one
one
fight,
fight,
Our
our
our power.
power.
You're listening to KYOK 1140 AM at the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe to us every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your favorite podcast player, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Pod Chaser. Search for CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast player. Up next, we're talking about Project 2025, cutting the people, not the fat. And this is one of the subject matters that is going on at CBTU on tomorrow, Saturday morning, from 2 to, well, not Saturday morning, but from 2 p.m. to 3:30 when we're talking about unions and Project 2025. And so we wanted to delve into this just a little bit right here on CWA Hour Power Radio Show. This is a hot topic that is going around the country. We're digging into Project 2025 and why it's got Black, brown, working, queer, rural, and everyday folks squarely in the crosshairs.
They say it's about efficiency, but let's be real, family. Russell Vought is running the Department of Government Efficiency now, Dodge. Y'all, this is not a meme. It's a mission to gut public services, rebuild government that only serves the rich, the connected, and the conservative elite.
And y'all know what? Voight isn't new to this at all. He is the mastermind behind Project 2025, a blueprint to hire civil servants, erase diversity programs, and rewrite what this country stands for. And I want to share this with you guys. I remember, and I don't know if you've heard, but they are even attacking PBS. And I remember when my children were little, every morning my daughter would eat breakfast watching PBS. That's where she learned her letters, her shapes, her dreams. PBS was her classroom. And on top of that, PBS was the one that even introduced Spanish into her life. Now, uh, PBS, that now they want to just shut it down. No more Sesame Street. So what do you tell the children of today? That learning is for kids with money now?
This ain't just fun and cuts. It's the direct attack on public education, healthcare, housing, and freedom of information. They want to decide what we see, hear, learn, and even what kind of history we're allowed to remember.
Now let's
It's
run the
crazy.
numbers because I brought the receipts and you're right. I'm sorry, Tim. You go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's crazy. It's out of control. It is out of control. We'll go ahead with the numbers.
Yeah, let me give you these receipts because we got to bring receipts when we're talking about stuff. 9.3 billion slashed from public broadcasting, global aid, and the arts. Did you hear what I said? That was 9.3 billion. Then there's 33.3 billion cut from health and human services. That's clinics, WIC, and Medicaid. Then you have 12 billion gutted from education. And yes, they want to eliminate the entire Department of Education. Instead of PBS and Pell Grants, they want to give billions to private prisons and oil companies and parades.
And let's not forget Schedule F, where they fire experienced federal workers and replace them with political yes men. That's not democracy, that's dictatorship. Come on now.
So what does it mean when your child can no longer watch Reading Rainbow or Sesame Street?
Mm-hmm.
When grandma can't afford insulin, but the government's efficient? This ain't accidental, it's strategic.
And they're banking on us not noticing that we're too distracted. But our power is not asleep. We see it, we feel it, we fight it.
And they're coming for diversity offices, for LGBTQIA protections, for civil right enforcements, and they're calling it a budget.
Y'all, it's given 1954 with the Wi-Fi.
Say that again.
Say that again.
Listen, say it again. Y'all, if you're listening, text someone this episode's link, because this affects everybody. This affects everyone, from barbershop chairs to classroom desks. We need to be talking about it.
Right.
Oh,
And we got to.
Sorry, go ahead, Errol.
I was just about to say we have to shout out even the teachers union, the National Education Association, NEA, for standing tall against the death of the Department of Education. And we've also got to give big ups to CPB, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and they're taking legal action to protect PBS and NPR from total defunding. And while I'm talking about CPB, did you all know that it's a nonprofit corporation created by Congress in 1967 to promote and fund public broadcasting services in the United States, including PBS and NPR? CPB helps ensure that educational, cultural, and news programming remains, that's the key word right there, remains accessible, independent, and non-commercial, especially for underserved communities.
And salute to everyday warriors like teachers, union members, activists. Y'all holding the line.
They sure are. They're holding the line, and they're holding the line strong. Even at AFT, what I love about AFT, they're giving free books that have been banned all over. And we say it every week: labor rights, civil rights, human rights, they're all in the same struggle. And if they silence Sesame Street, close clinics, and fire educators, who's next?
We will not let them cut our power. We will speak up. We will continue to show up, and we will vote. And we will vote in bigger numbers this year, next year, or years to come.
And don't be fooled. Let me just go ahead and say it. Don't be fooled by the word efficiency. That's just a code word for erasure.
We've got the power, we got the voices, and together we ain't going nowhere. We just got to come together and get the word out. Tell people.
That's right.
That's
We
how
ain't
we're gonna
going
fight
nowhere.
back.
That's right. This is CWA Our Power, and this mic ain't going silent. You're listening to KYK 1140 AM and the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Tune in every Thursday, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player: Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Pod Chaser. Search for CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast player. Up next, we have our Union Buster of the Week with Timmia Wiley.
Good morning, Errol. Good morning, KYOK listeners. This week's Union Buster of the Week goes to none other but Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa at the Dr. Phillips location in Orlando, where we just happen to be, where management launched a full-blown anti-union campaign to stop their massage therapists from organizing, but it backfired big time. Despite hiring professional union busters, holding mandatory anti-union meetings, and using classic intimidation tactics, the workers voted yes to unionize on May 3rd. Congratulations to those workers. The brave workers are now represented by UFCW Local 1625, and that makes my heart happy, who continue to organize workers across Florida's wellness and service industries. So congratulations to these newly unionized massage therapists in Orlando for standing tall and fighting for their worth in an industry known for burnout, low wages, and high turnover. You're setting the tone for change, not just a hand in stone, but across the entire massage therapy field. We want to have a voice in our working conditions. Wages, commissions, and paid time off matter, said union reps, who also noted that massage therapists in Gainesville are following suit, demanding better treatment and respect on the job. So shout out to the local powerhouse. Massive props to UFCW Local 1625 and the Central Florida labor community for keeping the pressure on and pushing for progress. From Orlando to Gainesville, this is what the new labor movement looks like: professional, powerful, and unstoppable. These workers are organizing with UFCW Local 1625, a union that's already known for hard workers across Florida. Their victory shows that it's possible, anything's possible, can be possible, and unstoppable when unions organize strategically and workers stand united across race, gender, and background. So, for my final word today, massage therapists give relief and healing every day. Now they've given us all a dose of what collective power looks like. To the union busters who tried to stop them, better luck next time. This has been your Union Buster of the Week. Back to you, Errol.
Thank you so much, Tim. You hang around just a few more minutes. We have another episode coming up, another segment, I should say. You're listening to KYOK 1140 AM and the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Tune in every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Podchaser. Now we got to listen up now. We have to listen up because I know the stove has been burning and on and the tea is hot. And next we have Tea with Tay. Good morning, Tay.
Good morning, KYOK family and CWA family. So, listen to me. Y'all know today we got a good episode for you, or a good segment for you. We don't do any sugarcoating over here. We stay bold. Today's blend is called No Kids Menu, and it's brought to you by the brilliance of a young leader I met at the NAACP Carty in New Orleans, Megan Curry. So this one is to our next gen members. So if you're not listening, and if they're not listening, go ahead and turn it up because it's something they need to hear. Megan said, "Give us a seat at the table, but don't give us a kids menu." That quote, that's not just a slogan. It's a call to action. And it's time we serve it to every union hall, bargaining team, and executive board across the country. Let me first start with a couple of receipts here. A 2024 Pew Research study found that 63% of Gen Z workers feel ignored in decision makings at their jobs. And yet, Gen Z has the highest union support rate of any living generation. They're organizing, striking, leading movements from Starbucks to Amazon. But too many unions still treat young members like interns and not leaders. Let me ask you this. Does your union have youth representation on the board? Do you have a mentorship program to grow your next generation, mobilizers, and presidents? Are you offering them a vote or just a voice? Because if not, you're offering the seat, but still serving us kids' menus. Now, let me make this very clear. Youth doesn't need permission to lead. Do you hear me? We do not need permission to lead. Mari Copany, aka Little Miss Flint, who was just 8 years old when she began demanding clean water for her hometown of Flint, Michigan. She's not just speaking up, she's organizing, raising money, and pushing policies. Zina Bryant, a community organizer who helped spark the conventions around removing Confederate statues in Charlottesville, Virginia, while still in high school. She's mobilizing around equity, education, and justice. Gerda Thunberg, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing some of the names wrong, the youthful thorn in the side of the fossil fuel industry. Gerda took environmental justice by the horns, launching the Global Friday for Future movement. She's challenged presidents, CEOs, and United Nations, calling out climate injustice, with boldness and clarity. And she's only 25 years old or under 25 years old. David Hodge, the student of Parkland, turning their trauma into action, pushing for serious gun reform. Autumn Petier, sorry about that, water protector from Canada, fighting for Indigenous water rights and standing up at the UN. These young leaders aren't asking for crumbs. They're demanding full plates. They're not waiting for plates. They're building their own table. So here's my challenge to the union leadership. If your local doesn't have a next gen program, build one. If you're not mentoring a young worker, start now. If your board lacks youth, change the bylaws and make room. You want a future proof labor movement, then invest in the future right now. Create internship pipelines, share bargaining knowledge, hand over the mic and listen. Do you hear me? We get it. We appreciate it. We know how hard our leaders work. We see it. But let me tell you, it is our time. We cannot keep asking you to give us a seat at the table. We will make our seat at the table. We are here to support the movement. But if you take all the information with you, then what are we left with? We need our seasoned leaders. We need our seasoned generation. Let us step up. We're ready. We have something to say. And Errol, you know I say that a lot. I have something to say. Because the most revolutionary thing we can do is prepare the next generation to win bigger than we ever did. So today's tea is simple. We're not asking you to move over. We're asking you to make room and serve full plates. This is our time, next gen. This is the time that you speak up. This is the time that you say, I'm ready to be a leader. Once again, we've asked enough. It is our time to show even more what we can do. So I'm passionate about next gen, so I could do this all day. But I'll tell you here that we don't want kids' menus anymore. Bring the full menu to my table. I'm ready. So I'm Tay, and that's just the truth of the day. So until next time, stay bold, stay building, and don't forget to bring the youth. And youth, don't forget to demand your seat. And that is the real menu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tay. And while we're here at CBTU in Orlando, Florida, I must give a great big shout out to Dominic Melvin of CWA and CBTU, because he is over the under 40 with CBTU, and he does an excellent job. This morning, we tried to stay around to hear the panel that he was on, but we were unable to because we had to come back and get ready for the radio station. But we'll be tuning in to him just a little bit and we will continue to support the under 40 and next gen with CWA. You're listening to KYK 1140 AM and the all new 106.5 FM. If you're on the go, you can take us with you by visiting kyokradio.org. Listen and subscribe. Tune in every Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on kyokradio.org, the CWA Strong app, or your preferred podcast player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, and Podchaser. Search for CWA Hour of Power on your favorite podcast player. And we want to give a great big shout out to the class that Reginald is teaching and training out in Anaheim, California. They are tuned in, listening to us, and they're teaching environmental justice or going through training today in Anaheim, California. And we have an environmental piece that we want to talk about right now. So today we want to talk about flushed away. when Black communities pay the price for environmental racism. This focus is on Lowndes County sewage crisis, environmental racism, and the rollback of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in Lowndes County, Alabama. The DOJ ends sewage settlement in Lowndes County over distorting diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility lens. And so we're live from the CBTU conference, the convention, and this is CWA Our Power Radio, where we say what we need to be said. Today's segment isn't just about injustice. It's about what happens when a government decides that Black lives are a footnote and environmental justice is a dirty word.
We're
And so
spotlighting.
today,
We're spotlighting Loudons County, Alabama, a rural majority Black community of fewer than 10,000 residents. This isn't just any county, this is sacred ground, the land where Bloody Sunday marchers passed, where civil rights were bled for, and yet for decades, these descendants of freedom fighters have lived with raw sewage in their yards, raw sewage in their yards, in their ditches, and sometimes even back into their homes. Why? Because they've been left without working septic systems, without funding, without infrastructure. Generations of poverty and structural racism make this possible. And now that help was finally on the way, it's been yanked out from under them, not because it failed, but because the help was labeled DEI.
Imagine that. Working sewage systems, canceled. Environmental justice, dismissed. Not because the people didn't need it, but because the current administration decided that fighting for poor Black communities counts as political agenda.
and in 2023, there was a real momentum. After years of grassroots pressure, a settlement was reached. Stop criminalizing poor residents, start installing real systems, treat sanitation like the human right it is. Septic systems were being planned. Hope was raising.
But now it's all being flushed away because you know what, I'm not gonna call nobody's name, someone decided environmental justice is woke, quote unquote, because someone labeled basic dignity DEIA. And now people of Loudoun County, many still living with straight pipes emptying sewage into the soil, have to start all over again. But let's be crystal clear about this. This environmental racism, yes, we're calling it environmental racism, it's climate injustice and it's labor injustice. If your home isn't safe, your health suffers. You miss work, you lose wages, you die young. This is the front line where racism, classism, and public health collide.
And we salute Catherine Coleman Flowers, a daughter of Wells County and founder of the Center for Rural Enterprise and Environmental Justice, who exposes this crisis and still fights for her community. Her work earned national awards, but the fight continues, and it's on us now.
CWA members, let's be clear. Environmental justice is labor justice. And this year, CWA launched our official environmental justice training, and it's live now. Locals sign up. Locals sign up. Bring this training to your city. Learn how climate, race, labor, and infrastructure are all connected. We need this in our areas. And let me say this. When we talk about communities, we're talking about all communities. Everyone has a right to live in a clean environment. This is multicultural.
It's definitely multicultural, but don't wait for another generation to live through sewage in silence. The movement for civil rights didn't skip Lowndes County in 1965, and we won't skip them in 2025. If we let them erase it, DEIA, they will erase entire communities. Infrastructure is not charity, it is power. Sanitation is not a luxury, it's a labor right, it's a health right, it's a human right. It's basic, it's as basic as breathing air. But somehow we're missing the pieces. Somehow we're missing
Mhm.
it.
And we always want to give you somewhere to kind of read on your own. So to learn more about Loudoun County's story, read the full article at al.com.
We are the CWA Our Power radio show reminding you you can't flush away people, dignity, or justice. We rise, we organize, and we bring the fight to the airwaves. And you know what? This has been going on for a number of years in Lowndes County. And this is what this is what I heard Timmia say, how they have to straight pipe this into their yards. Now, I don't know if anyone realized what straight pipe is. That means that all of your um, uh, uh, water from your sink, your toilet, washing your clothes, it goes out in your backyard. And in the old days, there was called a cesspool. Now imagine this. Nobody in their right minds want to have a cesspool in their backyard.
No, they don't. And it's not right, it's not fair. And I just don't understand why it's going on this long. And where I don't I just and my brain is not computing how or why this has been allowed to go on for this long.
Mm-hmm.
Um it, I just can't fathom who why there's been a blind eye turned to this. I would be ready to knock some stuff over, big time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If my yard,
It,
if I go ahead, I'm sorry.
go ahead, because I think we're on the same wavelength about if this was in our yard.
Yeah, if it was in my yard, I would be out there every day. I would be out there protesting every day because
Mm-hmm.
and maybe because it just sounds so foreign to me to have to live with a cesspool. It's such a foreign concept that ain't no way. Like they say, ain't no way, boy,
Mm-hmm.
boy, ain't no way. I just can't imagine.
And just think this, I mean, it's 2025 and the groundwork was laid for this to be taken care of. The infrastructure was there. And now, because it is considered DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, it has just been wiped away. And we wouldn't have this in nobody else's yard, backyard. We wouldn't have it on a football field. We wouldn't have it on a golf course.
No, you wouldn't. And see, now is the time where we gonna get us a truck and we gonna scoop some of all of this up from everybody's yard and we gonna take it to the mayor's house. See how he
Yep.
like them apples.
Put it right in the
Drop it
jar.
Mm-hmm.
right on off.
You need to put
And
it
I
right.
ain't playing either.
But that's how you have to do it, Tamia.
You have to.
When
You
we were
have
doing
you gotta fight fire with fire. Because if he wanna act ignorant, I'm gonna act ignorant.
when we were doing our environmental justice class, that's one thing that we talked about. We need to make the mayor and these people suffer with the same things we are. So if this is in my yard, it needs to be in your yard. If I have to drink this water and live in these conditions, so should you.
Hello,
Right.
somebody. Talk
And
about
then and I don't know about you guys, but Tay and I, we were riding together, going to get lunch yesterday, and she saw a pile of bricks on the side of the road, a pile of dirt. And the first thing, all right, why they got all that over there like that? Looking for environmental justice issues as we are traveling along.
mm-hmm.
Yes, because
And
I
it
see a pile of trash now. I want to know how that's affecting the community that I just rolled by.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. Because it brings awareness, especially since we have delved into teaching and training these classes. It brings awareness to everything that we are doing. And I don't know about you, even environmental justice, the little simple things, how people may have used to throw cups and everything out of the window. When you start learning better, you do better. And so they don't do this anymore.
Mm-mm. I remember a time I threw some napkins out the window. You know, my parent made me go back and pick up them napkins. Turned around and told me,
Right.
this is not what we are doing. My lesson learned, I don't throw trash down at all, and my kids will not throw trash down at all. You better find a trash can.
I know, right? I would rather for my car to look like I've been throwing trash out of the window with the windows rolled up than to throw it outside.
That's it, because we will not be litter bugs. So,
Right. We cannot be litter
Mhm.
bugs because it affects all of it affects all of us. It
it
affects
does.
our streams. It affects our sewer systems. It blocks up the sewage and everything. So we have to be mindful of that and bring awareness to our community.
And let's just say this. If you don't know, that's different. But when you know better, you do better.
That's right. That's right. As we come down to the final minutes of the show, our union brothers, sisters, and siblings at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette have been outside for 30 months, 2 years on the picket lines. And yet, while they're striking, they're still turning out the news with facts for you and me. Let's show our support to them by making sure we subscribe to unionprogress.com. Once you subscribe to this free publication, how about going over and donating to their strike fund at cwa.org/PPG donate. And I just heard someone shout, "We are one." That's right, we are one. We are with our constituency groups, CBTU, I'm sorry, Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, here in the beautiful city of Orlando, Florida. We want to thank all of our guests for coming on today. We want to thank the training class in Anaheim, California, for tuning in with us today. We want to give our sisters out there in Anaheim, Sheila and Estelle, for having the training class out in Anaheim, California. May flowers are blooming and awareness is also. May is Stroke Awareness Month, Mental Health Awareness Month. May 5th was also National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and People. Melanoma, Skin Cancer Detection and Prevention Month. Take action and learn more today. When you take time to learn about others around you, you're making the world a better place. Awareness campaigns serve as a powerful reminder that there are steps we must all take in looking out for loved ones, the people in our community, and those who have been impacted. It's time to take one big step together and make a change. An hour is not long enough to be with you, and a week is too long to be away from you. You have been tuned into the CWA Human Rights Justice Our Power broadcast. I hope something you heard today has inspired you to take action toward creating positive change in the world. Every person has the power to make a difference, no matter how small. And by working together, we can create a world where human rights are respected and valued. So I encourage each of you in the listening audience to reflect on your role in promoting human rights to affect change in your communities and beyond. Know that you're not alone in your quest for a more just and equitable world. When faced with injustice, it can be easy to lose hope and give up. But remember, justice may be slow like the truth, but when it finally comes, it will stand. Until next Thursday, 10 a.m. Central, right here on KYOK 1140 a.m. and the all new 106.5 FM KYOK radio.org. See you next week.